Hey guys, welcome to the Prime Dude. Rob Edwards here. Is there a shoe company that you took a chance on because of the guy who founded it? And that's what I'm talking about here with J.Fitzpatrick Footwear. I've followed the Shoe Snob, his YouTube channel, for years, and as I expanded my shoe collection and as I was doing more business and wanted some diversity in my shoes, I wanted to find some companies that I could identify with. Justin seems like one of us. He feels like a guy that loves shoes, fell in love with shoes. I've heard other shoe people and fashion experts talk about how he came up around the business and then decided early on that he was going to do this for himself, which I just love. It's a great story of passion and dedication. And so I gave J.Fitzpatrick Footwear and Justin, in a way, a chance. So I went with these. These are the Sangria, which is a burgundy shade, Wanachi Semi-Brogues. I'll show some pictures and video right now. Of course, as I always do, I get these out of the box live for you. We'll go over to the shoe table and look at that footage, and then I wear them. And I've worn these already, and that'll round out the complete review. First, let's jump quickly to the website. I want to talk about one thing so you know. First of all, the website's fantastic, very easy to use, and I love how descriptive the details Justin's team goes into to make sure you know everything you need to know before you make an investment. One, he has two lines, the J.Fitzpatrick line and the JF line. This particular pair I have, the Wanachi, is a JF line pair of shoes, and what he does nicely here is explains it. First, it's simple, two lines, right? The higher end line is the Justin Fitzpatrick line. I wanted to start with what they refer to at J.Fitzpatrick as the JF line, which is their entry level. My first pair, definitely going entry level. And so he does a nice job explaining here the critical differences of the two lines, and it's pretty simple. They use more elite leather in the J.Fitzpatrick line. The lasts are a little more sophisticated. They have closed channel stitching on the soles. Those kinds of things, those added extra touches that you pay about $200 more for. To come up front, I got a little bit of a discount, as you will too, on your first pair of shoes. I took advantage of that. I think it was 15%. So I ended up paying under $300 for these shoes here. The Wanachi Sangria Calf. Just look at that. Semi-Brogues. Who doesn't love a burgundy shade Semi-Brogue? If you don't love it, then I just can't help you. And I think this is a great third pair. I always talk about the thirds. This is a great third pair of shoes. If you got a black you like, you got a brown, then you certainly need to move on to burgundy. What's cool about J.Fitzpatrick is not only does he have these beautiful, even entry-level shoes with more kind of design and flair, you can go with beautifully made black, standard brown, Oxford and Derby dress shoes. He's got boots. There's all kinds of things here when you shop, all kinds of options. As you can see, he gets pretty aggressive as you want to with style. But then if you go to Oxford's, you've just got, again, a lot of diversity. I mean, look at that. That is just a beautiful spectator-looking shoe. But you can start with just a nice, beautiful black hole cut. You've got these amazing marble patinas that they offer, which is something I would say is their signature. Something that really makes them different is their marble patina lines. And of course, he talks about his construction. So many details for us shoe nerds here. If you want to get into it, you don't have to. You can just go and buy a pair of shoes. But they do some things to the Goodyear welt, which these, of course, are Goodyear welted shoes, that make them more flexible. It's proprietary, and I think it's kind of tongue-in-cheek as you read about it here, because as anybody who comes up with something, they're not going to probably share how they do it, and Justin certainly doesn't. And of course, I wanted to test that. I wanted to see how comfortable these shoes would be. The Wanachi, beautiful pair of shoes, Goodyear-welted, amazing broguing in a semi-brogue. It is in the Reineer last. So, again, I talked about the construction. This is a last for me. I've got an average size foot. It is a true to size last. I've looked at some of the others. I think it was the MPB. They're a little roomier. So Justin does a nice job offering some diversity in his last for those of you that might have wider feet. I feel like this last, the Reineer last, is perfect and true to size for anyone that has average or maybe even slightly narrow feet. It's a really smart last, not too complex, and a great way to start with your first pair of shoes. I have the Streetwalker sole, as you can see here, and I'll pop it up for you. And of course, we'll get closer to this at the shoe table. It is your rubber sole, leather combo. It is fantastic. What I was looking for here is something that I could wear comfortably, that's dressy enough to wear with a suit, but is also nice enough where I don't have to worry walking on wet surfaces. So pricing, you can see here, this JF line, it starts in that $300, almost $400 range. And as you saw, you go up close to $200 more depending on sales for the J.Fitzpatrick line. So let's get close to this. My first pair of J.Fitzpatrick footwear shoes, the Wanachi Sangria Calf Semi-Brogues, again from J.Fitzpatrick. Let's go to the shoe table. We'll look at the details, and then we'll talk about how I wore them, how I use them, and what my overall review is.
Gentlemen, we are here for the unboxing and detailed shoe table review of the Wanachi Sangria Half-Brogue Oxford dress shoes from J.Fitzpatrick Footwear, the shoe snob, our friend in shoes. So getting right to it. Beautiful. I love the bag, love the color. He's done a nice job differentiating, and really excited. You know, I love a burgundy as much as anyone. This is I like that he calls it sangria. So it's a richer, kind of more, I guess a little more oxblood then, and you can see just the, you know, in the light how this this full grain box calf leather just shines and hits the light. This is a half brogue, and one of the key differences is, as opposed to a full brogue, is you have no wingtip, less of the broguing, right? Less of the punch holes than a full brogue. And I would argue that you know, they are more versatile, a half brogue, because there's just less going on. I think full wingtip brogues, they're fine to wear with suits, but this is a cap toe that makes it really a hybrid, right? A nice hybrid of a full brogue wingtip and then your traditional cap toe Oxford dress shoe. All the shoes are made in Mallorca, Spain, and these are a just a traditional, beautiful almond last, right? So you've got the English type, as you can say, almond last, but with a really nice, sleek design here. Very versatile shoe. When you have this cap toe, it dresses up nicely. People wear these brogues with denim. I don't go as casual with any kind of cap toe. I want something that has a wingtip, a little more broguing, that's a little more, I would say, unconventional. I think this is a dressier shoe. I do think you could wear this with chinos, with the right jacket, shirt, and tie combination, even tieless. And of course, because it's a darker color, right, it's going to give you a good foundation to your traditional suits. A lot of the traditional colors will go well with this. Of course, I'm a navy slacks and suit fan with burgundy type colors. I think this would look fantastic with dark gray, with navy. I think you could go slate, even lots of darker shades of blue, but essentially on the upper, this is pinking, this pink edging. It's really just decorative, but it is a stitch marker as well, and they look immaculate. This is a well-made shoe. The stitching's neat. I'm about to measure it. We'll cut away and we'll give it a measure here in a second for the stitches per inch. Oxford, right, closed lacing system, traveling around to the hindquarters. Just a nice, really, and what this is a traditional last. This is the Reineer last. I'm assuming maybe named after Mount Reineer. Travel to the heel. They do have real, and you can feel the difference, real leather heel counters. And the backstay is a neat design here. Instead of the traditional straight down strip, it's stitched right in as a part of the heel and then traveling to the heel stack. This is the part of the street walker sole, and this does feel, this is real leather here, of course, on a fully rubber heel, and intentional for me. This is almost a fully rubber sole, right? It's a leather and rubber sole hybrid, and this is, I love the name Streetwalker. This is a shoe, again, that should be an everyday shoe if you need it, or a rotation, you know, even 2-3 times a week, so that you have the stability of a rubber sole in different weather, especially moist, wet conditions on the street, on concrete. Very important. That's really hard on full leather soles if you're walking in areas, you know, like a Seattle, places like London, the UK, where even if you're not in the rain, of course, you're probably like me, avoiding it like the plague, solely to preserve your leather dress shoes. But it is nice to rotate a rubber sole in your Goodyear-welted shoes, and this is a Goodyear-welted rubber sole, so you have the confidence of a Goodyear welt, and an easy, rubber soles are very easy for a good cobbler to resole, to replace. This, just from the view, you know, this is how people see your shoes, right? And so when there are more angles, right? There's more dimension to it. And that creates lighting interest, that creates attention. But again, the Wanachi Reineer, you can see it on the inside. I think I got a good angle here, right? Size 9.5E, that's standard width for J.Fitzpatrick. This is true to size. I'm a 9.5 UK. That's a 9.5 UK we're holding here, 10.5 US. It's nice to have consistent sizing. All right, gonna do the measurement. I did it twice, right? And so what I got was really impressive. Not that this is gonna help you with the magnifying glass, but it helps me. And so one, I take the magnifying glass to look at the stitching. If you really wanna get detailed, you can follow all the stitching along the lacing system, along the vamp, just to see how well this is stitched, and I don't see any flaws. It's really neat. And I counted 15 stitches. I did it twice, which is really impressive, so nice work to Justin and the team. 15 stitches per inch, SPI, which is an incredible measurement. About 8, which is really nice. About 8 stitches per inch for the welt stitching to the sole, and we've already covered 15 stitches per inch on the upper. Fantastic measurements from our friends at J.Fitzpatrick Footwear, as he said. I say shoes, I think shoe snob. Justin Fitzpatrick seems like such a great guy, a passionate man. I'll say young man, I'm clearly older, and a great entrepreneur who's bringing us really interesting shoes. He's got some I would say, really progressive, exciting designs I'm sure I'll get into after enjoying this shoe. And now when I cut in, it's going to be after I wore it on some pretty hard floors this week in Chicago. Hopefully it's not raining, but you know, I'm going to be able to really test the streetwalker sole, as they call it, on this Reineer last of the Wanachi Sangria Calf half-brogue Oxford dress shoe from J.Fitzpatrick. Congratulations on making a great shoe, and let's see how it wears. Let's see how I use it in Chicago, and I'll get back to you right here at the end of the reel. I'll have all that information, so thanks for tuning in.
As you can tell, after the shoe table experience, I really loved unboxing these. I love the details of the box, the red color, the nice dust covers that he sends. I think red was such a smart differentiating color. Other than Carmina, I don't know any other company out there, Spanish-made, handmade shoes that uses the red. So it really sticks out and it comes through on the website. Love the construction, love the feel in my hands, and of course I had a chance to wear them. I can tell you they were exciting and easy to wear right out of the box. What I do with shoes like this is, any new shoe, I typically try not to set myself up to have to wear them on a 20-hour travel day, which can happen to me sometimes with delays. I wore these to a meeting where I knew I wasn't going to be in the shoes any longer than about 6 or 7 hours, a meeting day at a hotel where I was going to get out of them at night because any shoe is going to have some kind of break-in period. These really worked well. I ended up doing more walking between the meeting rooms than I thought, on hard floors, on carpet. The shoes are fantastic. I styled them, as you can see, in this particular experience with a medium gray that also had is like a window pane suit of mine from a great place called Stitched out in Vegas at the Cosmopolitan. So it had that sort of lavender tie-in to this burgundy, which has a beautiful, he calls it sangria because it's like a wine, a rich sort of like, lighter blend wine sangria. Sangria is fruity. It just has that look. It's just brighter than your typical burgundies. Regarding the feel of the shoe, is there something to the flexibility engineered into the J.Fitzpatrick shoes Goodyear-welted? I think there is. I don't know if it's because it was the city sole, but this was extremely comfortable to wear right out of the box. Almost what you feel with a Blake Stitch shoe, which is pretty amazing in a Goodyear-welted, something that's strong and resolable. So I do applaud the folks that make these shoes in Spain and Justin's vision, not just in the style, right? Justin Fitzpatrick's really into some wild looks. You got green, blues, marble patinas, all kinds of varieties there in shoe designs, especially some of the really aggressive patinas he does. I think it's amazing. But for those of us that are looking for maybe something that has a dressy, artistic expression in the business world, but isn't too loud, he offers so many of those shoes as well, not only in the JF line, but in the J. Fitzpatrick line. So yeah, I'm a big fan, so much so that I've ordered more that I'm going to review. I'm really excited to bring Justin Fitzpatrick Footwear into my shoe collection. I'm amazed, and I can see why there's so many strong reviews. at what Justin has landed on with this company. Really fun to support it because he's an American like me. He's from Seattle, which you see so much of the influences in the shoe. I think it's just a really cool and amazing concept that he has grown to such a fantastic global brand in what is a pretty incredibly competitive industry. So drop your questions below. Let me know if you've tried J.Fitzpatrick Footwear before, what you think. I am very excited to, again, keep going with these shoes. And what's neat about, in addition to the website where Justin sells his shoes, he's got another website. So he's got Shoe Snob, the blog, Shoe Snob, the YouTube channel, jfitzpatrickfootwear.com, his website. And then he's got the Shoe Snob marketplace. It's kind of like a shoe mart take or discount, whatever the one Allen Edmonds does, where he's selling excess stocks and things that were samples. I got a pair of those. We'll talk about those in another review that are pretty cool that have to be pre-ordered now. He also retails or sells other brands on the Shoe Snob marketplace. He's clearly worked out some deals as a networker with some other companies, somebody who's in the know. So check out the Shoe Snob marketplace. And when you're done with all that, making sure you take care of Justin, like, subscribe, check out your alerts, hit your alerts for this show. I appreciate your support. Thanks for being a subscriber if you already are, and thanks for considering it if you're not. I just love the support, love where things are going, and I appreciate all of your feedback. As always, drop them in the comments. And of course, the shirt, I want to mention that real quick. Love this shirt. That's why I wore it today. It's a brushed cotton, obviously houndstooth design in a beautiful business casual long sleeve shirt from Ledbury. I'll link that down below. They do multi-buys now. Love these shirts. I think you'll love them too. And as always, thank you again for following the show, and stay prime.